China is flaunting its military parade with all of its might, with a lavish parade, and in the process, we're sending a warning to Washington, to President Trump. Tyrone Bowman live. According to the Wall Street Journal, let's talk about this news article coming out of Beijing, China. China flexed its growing military power and its deepening ties to Washington's adversaries with an extravagant parade that casts leader Xi Jinping as the standard bearer of a new global order. The armed forces spectacle in Beijing on Wednesday, marking the 80th anniversary of China's victory in World War II, projected the vision of a great power that Ying wants to present to the world, a warning to the US and Europe not to challenge it. Amplifying the anti-Western optics was the attendance of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and Russia's Vladimir Putin, who walked out to the viewing rostrum and watched the procession on either side of the Chinese leader. As the event unfolded, President Trump sent a barbed message of congratulations on social media. Trump wished Ying and the Chinese people, quote, a great and lasting day of celebration, end quote, before adding, quote, please give my warmest regards to Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un as you conspire against the United States of America, end quote. If it's my jacket here, I need to be relaxed. As the event unfolded, President Trump sent pardon me, already read that. Ying was flanked by leaders from 26 countries, including Iran, as he oversaw the procession of advanced Chinese weaponry and thousands of troops marching in unison past Tiananmen Square. Tiananmen Square, if you remember, for historical purposes, that was where the youth uprising occurred decades ago, and all individuals involved in it were punished severely, and I think some of them, they're still in prison. The Chinese people have made major contributions in saving human civilization and safeguarding world peace with huge national sacrifices, quote, close quote, Ying said in a speech he delivered from Tiananmen, the gate of heavenly peace, which overlooks the square. Quote, the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation is unstoppable, end quote. Ying's speech was followed by a display of the expanding military arsenal under his command, including 2 hypersonic nuclear-capable missiles and unmanned combat platforms that strengthen China's ability to deter the U.S. and project power far beyond its borders. Formations on parade included ground, naval, and aerial drones, strategic missiles, and a cyberspace combat force. Quote, for the domestic audience, the global is to rally national pride, present the Communist Party as the guardian of China's sovereignty, and flaunt the military and that Ying has invested so heavily in, said Daniel Russell, a former senior State Department official, now at the Asia Society Policy Institute. With U.S. tariffs threatening many developing economies, Beijing has cast itself on the global stage as an alternative to what it calls American homogeneity, though many leaders also fear a global order dominated by Beijing. The parade showed China's deepening regional influence with a number of Southeast and Central Asian leaders in attendance. The Chinese capital was decked out for the event with more than 200,000 flags, and the construction of a specially designed flower beds. Paramilitary guards patrolled bridges and strict traffic controls were imposed as part of tightened security measures. Unlike past military parades held when Chinese economy was booming, the event comes as Beijing confronts serious challenges, including high youth unemployment, mounting debt levels, and a years-long property bust. So here is a photo, I'll try to make it a little bigger, of Chinese President Xi Jinping, North Korea leader Kim Jong-un, and Russian President Vladimir Putin. I want those three in the frame here. All right, now let's conclude this article as reported by the Wall Street Journal. The parade celebrated the role of communist fighters against Japanese invaders, presenting the party as a key contributor to the post-war international order. The historical narrative matters increasingly today as the U.S. and other Western countries paint China as a threat to international stability. Their criticism extends to Beijing's support for Moscow throughout its war against Ukraine. Most incumbent Western leaders were absent from Wednesday's event, notably leaders from the U.S. and the United Kingdom, the two major allied powers in World War II, along with the Soviet Union. Earlier in the week, Ying showcased his warm relations with Putin and other foreign leaders, including Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian in the Chinese port city of Tianjin, at a summit of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, a political and security bloc that China has used to press its strategic goals. Kim, the North Korean leader, arrived in Beijing on Tuesday. So, the Beijing parade was a reminder of Ying's ambitions to make China a first-rate military power, capable of protecting its global interest, competing with the U.S. for strategic dominance, and potentially seizing Taiwan, the self-ruled island that Beijing claims as its territory. The goal is to demonstrate our military formidable strategic deterrent capability and win future wars, Major General Wu Zik, Deputy Director of the Military Office organizing the parade, said at a briefing ahead of the event. China's military budget has roughly doubled over the past decade to around $250 billion. Its stockpile of nuclear weapons is estimated to have more than doubled over the same period, while it also has built out the world's largest naval fleet by number of vessels. China is also narrowing the gap with the U.S. in the quality of its armaments. Among other developments, the Chinese Navy is expected to soon put into operation a new aircraft carrier equipped for the first time with an electromagnetic catapult launch system, which would allow it to launch heavier aircraft. But it remains unknown how China's military would perform in combat. It hasn't fought a full-scale war since 1979. What the parade does not tell us is whether these weapons systems can be integrated and operated effectively, whether soldiers are adequately trained to use them, said Drew Thompson, a senior fellow at the S. Rajaratnam School of International Studies in Singapore, and whether the soldiers are led by capable officers empowered by their chain of command to adapt to the chaos and complexities of modern warfare. More than 24 senior Chinese military officers and defense industry executives have been placed under investigation or removed over the past 2 years, according to official disclosures viewed by the Wall Street Journal. 3 of the 7 members in the party's Central Military Commission, the Ying-chaired council that commands the armed forces, have purged or haven't appeared in public for months. Wednesday's events, by contrast, offered an image of military coordination and force. More than 10,000 personnel and hundreds of pieces of military hardware took part in the vast process along Beijing's Chang'an-Gai, the Avenue of Eternal Peace. Formation of jet fighters, bombers, and helicopters flew overhead. The Chinese leader could be seen chatting with Putin and Kim as the procession went by, at times gesturing enthusiastically with his hands in the audience. Many attendees wore Communist Party pins fastened to their shirts. Some burst into applause as nuclear-capable ballistic missiles rolled past Ying and other dignitaries. The celebration honored China's suffering during World War II and the Communist Party's contributions to victory, sacrifices that officials say should inspire current generations to rally around Ying and fend off Western efforts to contain Beijing. Back then, facing a life-or-death battle between justice and evil, light and darkness, progress, and reaction. The Chinese people united against the enemy and roused up to resist, Ying said in his speech on Wednesday. Now, let me take you back in time to when Richard Nixon was president of the United States. He met with Mao Zedong. He called it the Kings of the East meeting. Those two met and forged some type of concordant and accord. Today, mankind is faced with a choice of peace or war, dialogue or contributions, win-win or zero sum, said Ying, dressed in a gray Mao suit. The Chinese people stand firmly on the right side of history, so say him. Ying is promoting a message of national sacrifice not as victims, but as a function of willpower and national resolve, said Vincent Chang, a Chinese historian at Leiden University in the Netherlands. Well, I will say this. I do believe that part of the Make America Great Again slogan should stand for make the military strong, invincible, and threatening to any of America's enemies should they decide to come on this side of the equator. America must have a strong military, unilaterally strong, to be able to fend off any form of attack or opposition that will come to these shores. You must have a strong military. You can't allow the leader, Xi Jinping of China, to send a warning to our president. Bottom line, love him or like him, he's still the president of the United States of America, and we got to stand firm, have to stand strong in the midst of all chaos. Let me go to the comment section. There's already thousands of Chinese military contractors fighting in Ukraine. Well, I don't dispute that. Everybody's making money, not just China. Then Luther goes on to say, I honestly don't think China could be stopped from taking Taiwan. Taiwan has spent decades putting up there. And you might be right on that comment as well, as yet to remain to be seen. Okay, everybody, thank you for watching. Never surrender, never quit.